is Alan and Erin Perry talking to you from the 21st floor of the Cosmopolitan. You are watching the Living in Las Vegas podcast on the Vegas Video Network.
Does anybody see my fucking keys? Hey, on today's Living in Las Vegas. Okay, every once in a while, someone will reach out to me and go, all right, Scott, when you and Melissa have guests, what do you guys do to entertain folks? That's a pretty good question, especially since over the last 2 weekends, we've had guests staying with us. So on today's show, we're going to be talking about a weekend with guests in Las Vegas. Where are the places that we go, the things that we see when we want to show the folks staying with us a good time. Plus, we've got real quick stories, live chat questions, listener email, and of course, have a drink on me. This is the Living in Las Vegas podcast. Right, Bryce? Let's get started. Take the camera away from him. Living in Las Vegas starts now. Yes, it does. Scott is everywhere. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome from Las Vegas, Nevada. That groovy little podcast that gives you a true first-person look into what it's like to call Sin City your home. The Living in Las Vegas podcast. That's what I'm talking about.
You're killing me, Smalls.
And now your host. Yes? A man who clearly needs some kind of introduction, otherwise you wouldn't know who he was. Mr. Scott Whitney. Welcome, everybody, to, hey, I hear the casinos. Quiet. Welcome, everybody, to the Living in Las Vegas podcast here on the Vegas Video Network. Thank you. And if I might be the first to congratulate you because you're watching or listening the longest running podcast about Las Vegas that actually originates from Las Vegas, which means I'm not only going to cover what it's like to live here, nope, but we're going to talk about adventures on the Strip, downtown, Fremont Street, other cool places here in the Valley. And by the way, if you're a visitor, if you're a fan, if you're a tourist, you just dig this here city, well, our show is like your own secret handshake to all things cool and groovy in this town. Hey, we're live every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. at vegasvideonetwork.com/live. That's 7 p.m. Pacific time at vegasvideonetwork.com/live. I would invite you to come on and be a part of the show. Get yourself in the live chat. This is one of the coolest groups of people I have ever had the pleasure of knowing. You get to be a part of the show. You get to meet nice people like the Ken and the Ted and the Barb and Danny and DJ and Glenn. We've got Rob and Steve's, and we got Mike's and Pops. We got all kinds of cool people in there, and we'd like for you to be in there as well. They're super folks, and they love each other. I think they all give each other these kind of electronic hugs, and they love each other so much, as a matter of fact, that we had people here over an hour before the show actually started. Hey, I'm your host, Scott Whitney. Konnichiwa, buenas noches. How you doing, hot stuff? Great to have you here. Been an online broadcaster for, about 10 years now. Professionally, actually, I just thought about it. I'll be a professional online broadcaster, as in making money. In August will be 10 years. So thanks for that, for allowing this to happen. I run the Vegas Video Network, so if you like it, it's all about me. If you don't like it, it's, let's say it's taken on Pops. It'll be Pop's fault. Let's see, over under, I'm going to go 88 and a hook for today's big show. And new in the live chat, we've got DJ, who wrote he was a long-time listener, first-time chatter. He's from Phoenix, and guess this. He's been listening to our show for over 10 years, back when Melissa and I first started the show. Also want to thank Alan and Erin for the opening video. They were very excited to do that video and have me do the cameo. Thought it was a very cool idea, so I enjoyed doing that and played along. They were very nice people. I'll talk a little bit more about those two in a couple of seconds. Pops and Barb love the opening, so congratulations for Alan and Erin for coming up with the idea. A weekend with guests in Las Vegas. So I get this question a lot. What do you do, Scott, when people come by and you want to show them a good time? Let them know, Mr. Las Vegas and all that kind of nonsense. Well, a couple of things. So first of all, we had the last 2 weekends, the Mitchells, Neil and Sarah, who are our very goodest friends, stayed with us. And so we got to spend some time doing some pretty cool things. I did want to say real quick, though, that last weekend was Memorial Day, a 3-day weekend. I'm a veteran. So, sometimes people get the Memorial Day thing confused. Memorial Day is not about what I used to do. It's about, that's what Veterans Day is. It's about folks who have lost their life during their military careers. So I hope we all had a chance while swimming and barbecuing and drinking and eating and having a good time to just think for a moment that those people, the folks who have given their lives in service, are magical people. Just freaking magical people. So an interesting thing we discovered when we first moved to Las Vegas. Like most adults, we had friends where we used to live, and we would visit with our friends, maybe on the weekend or whatever. But when we moved to Vegas, it's pretty funny. The first 13 weeks we lived here, we had guests over the weekend. First 13 weeks. What I really came to recognize and appreciate was that the quality of the visit was much better here in Las Vegas than it was with the same friends when we were in, for example, California. And the reason is, I think the reason is because when they come here, they're committed to being here, obviously, for more than an hour, but they actually get to kind of stop thinking about their regular life. They're typically on either a 3-day weekend kind of vacation or a vacation. So they get to separate from the day-to-day nonsense, and the quality of time here has been outstanding. So I'll tell you, if you move to Vegas, expect visitors, and you're going to have more fun with them just because they get to focus, and you get to focus on them. Now, for folks who come to the Arches, we tend to take their temperature before they get here, meaning rectally. No, meaning we want to know, how much Vegas do you want? Do you want us to really give you the big Vegas-y thing, or do you want to kind of just be more around, hanging around with us, or why you do that, I don't know. Or how would you like to do that? So with the Mitchells have been our very good friends for many, many years. We met them, as a matter of fact, as a result of the podcast back in 2006. And we've gone on many vacations with them, and we've been at their house, and they've been to our house and all that good stuff. They're from the UK. And so they had been here for 2 weeks over the course of the 2 weekends, and they had done a lot of Vegas-y stuff on their own. So they didn't need to have the hardcore pushing Vegas-y thing on our behalf, because they kind of took care of themselves. By the way, this has happened a few times where people would come to visit us, but they wouldn't stay the entire time at Arches of Whitney Villa. They would sometimes spend maybe a day or two on the Strip, get their strip on, and then hang out with us for another couple days. So what we want to do is go, okay, where are we at here? What do we want to do to kind of have a good time and touch a little bit of a Strip thing? So, of course, we're going to be doing the pool thing, and we're going to be doing the drink thing. And I've said this many times before. I don't know how you would live here pleasantly if you didn't have a pool, or at least access to a pool. So I know people who are in the co-op or who are in the network who they don't have their own pool, but they go down to one of the casino pools every weekend, basically. So having a pool, especially in summer, seems pretty important to me. But the other thing that we really have gotten into is 2 games that we've brought here to Arches to allow us to spend long times having a good time out in the sunshine. And the first one is Cornhole, which is the worst prisoned named game ever. But the good news is it's a terrific game. Now, this is the game where you take a beanbag and you throw it and you try to put it into a slanted wood thing that's got a hole in the middle of it, or actually the top part of it. And we introduced the Mitchells to that the last time they were here. They were really into it. We actually sent them a game because I think Neil tried to build his own. It didn't last very long. We had this really cool, actually, Neil had this amazing idea. It was so cute. So we played the first game of cornhole was, men against women, and men won. But I could tell that the Mitchells were a little on edge a little bit, like they were anxious. I'm like, well, what's going on? And they said, okay, let's do, U.S. versus the U.K., Whitney's versus Mitchell's. I'm like, okay, that sounds fine. And then they take off. They go back into the house. I'm like, what are you guys doing? You're planning the game? I mean, well, come on out and have a drink. So they come back out, and the reason they went in is they brought out a bunch of shirts. So, so we had the Cornhole Annual Writers Cup, U.S. versus U.K., 2016, Arches of Whitneyville, Las Vegas. And if you look carefully, you'll see that Neil and Sarah are wearing Team UK, and the Whitneys are wearing Team USA. It was a pretty hysterical thing. Oh, yeah, and you'll notice there's a cup involved, and so there is the trophy in the middle, which is basically a orange Las Vegas souvenir cup on a platform of some kind. So we played the game. It was best out of 3, and not surprising, USA won. Probably because we have a cornhole thing, yeah. I thought that the Mitchells handled that game very well. As you can see here, we were being presented with the award, the cup, and Sarah was in good spirits. She seemed very happy about it. No bad sportness at all. And, of course, the Whitneys were gracious winners. We also play bocce ball, which is the next really great game to play at home. All you need is grass and a bocce ball thing. Get them at Amazon for, $50, $40, something like that. Again, inexpensive and fun. Now, what's our go-to place for restaurants? And this is the other super common thing that people ask us is we don't necessarily want to eat on the Strip because the Strip's expensive. It's great, but is there somewhere that we would like to, that you could take us outside? We used to go to Triple George a lot, and we've talked about this many times. We go to Echo and Rig, which is at Tivoli, which is at Summerlin. If you are the type of person who watches this show, more times than not, you're the type of person who wants to get outside of the Strip kind of vibe, right? So we have taken, for instance, Glenn in the live chat. He and his wife joined us for dinner. We went to Echo and Rig. I've talked about it many, many times. Basically, the play there is they have a small plate concept, not like tapas, but just kind of a small plate thing. Amazing food, and then their ribs. They have a butcher on site. Their meats are terrific, but instead of the big 50, the 20-ounce, $50, $60 thing, these are much smaller steaks, and they're about half the price. So you're not spending a ton of money. You're not gorging yourself. The food is great. The drinks are great. The service is great. You can get a nice view outside if you want to do that as well. Echo and Rig is far and away our favorite place to go. Okay, so that was the main part of the first weekend. Second weekend, which was just the last one, we decided to do a little bit of both sides, to spend some time here at Arches, but also go down on the Strip and kind of goof around. So the first thing that we did is on Friday night, we took off early, and Melissa took the day off, and we met at El Segundo Sol. Now, this is one of my favorite places to people watch and put the world to right. Now, this is located at a fashion show on the ground floor, slightly elevated, just across the street from Wynn. Outdoor eating, outdoor drinking, so the bar's outdoors, great view out there. But here's the thing that makes this pretty magical. And this is the same thing for any place on the west side of the Strip. So you want to think about this if you want to eat out or drink out and just kind of watch people on the Strip. It's the best people watching in the world, right? And that is get on the west side. So the fashion show is on the west side. We talked about Tom Urban's last week as a cool place to go. It's on the west side. So when it's sunny out, you want to be on the west side so the sun's not beating down on you. But when it gets dark, then you can be pretty much anywhere, obviously. But what's the place I like? what's the place? The Sammy Hagar place. That's one of my favorite places to people watch, but not in the daytime, because in the mid-afternoon, the sun's just cranking on you, and that's not a feature, man. That's no good. So, Cabo, thank you, Cabo Wabo. Thanks, guys. Live chat, telling you, awesomest people. So, as Neil puts it, we put the world to rights. So we were drinking beers that are about, I think about this big, monster beers. They catch up on you. But during the talk, so when we first got together, it was just Neil and me. And he told me the most interesting story about a poker tournament. So Neil is a big poker player. He's been playing poker for quite some time. And he's been in a few tournaments. Last time I was here, I think I told you, as a matter of fact, that he's one of the two guys that I know who really play poker a lot. And I'm talking about Texas Hold'em, of course. And he's won some tournaments, but he's not the kind of person that says, oh, yeah, I can make a living doing this. Anyway, so while I was getting ready to come here, and when I checked into our hotel, we'll talk about that in a second, he was playing this tournament at Mirage. So, tournament, and they have them all the time. So this tournament had 25 people, $125 buy-in to get in. And you could rebuy, which means if you bust out, you can go ahead and buy yourself back in again. He was telling me one guy did that 3 times. That should be a clue, right? So he's playing, and occasionally he's doing a Facebook post that, I'm doing pretty good. Hey, yeah, I'm doing pretty good. And then his last Facebook post was this picture, which is basically, I'm on the final table. So let me describe what you're seeing there, because it's a little deceptive. You see these, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 towers of money, stacks. Well, here they are. The yellow ones, those are $1,000 chips. The white ones, those are $5,000 chips. The purple ones, $500, and the black ones, $100. So he came into the final table like a boss. Okay, yeah, they're tournament chips, so there's not a dollar value to those, Pops mentions, but he had I'm the big motherfucker in this game value, and so he came in there as, like I said, the boss. Now, again, I don't play poker, so this is all kind of pretty groovy to me. So he comes in there, and I guess there's 6 or so people at the table, and they're starting to play. And he's a really interesting guy. He tells me he has these different gears that he plays. In the beginning, as a matter of fact, at the very beginning, he was just kind of out of every game, just not really playing a game, not playing a hand, I should say. And the guy next to him said, hey, when are we going to start anteing additional money by everybody? And the guy's like, why is that? It's because, some of these people need to get to playing. He was talking about Neil. And Neil's like, just so you know, I kind of play in gears. I'm about ready to go into next gear. And he busted that dude out. Okay, so he's in there playing. He's kicking the crap out of these guys. And then he said the players offered him these 2 different options as the game was going on. The first one was called, I hope I said this right, a pay 2 bubbles. Here's what they wanted to do. The top 3 players are in the money, but what they wanted to do is take... what I mean by that is, for the tournament, the top 3 players will win money back, right? Everybody else doesn't get their money back, or any money back. What they wanted to do is say, let's take the money and split it for the top 5 players. We'll take what the money is, so the first, second, and third place, and we'll arrange it so the top 5 people get the money. Neil's like, nope, not interested. And they're like, well, hold on. You probably need to understand this. That's kind of traditional here in Las Vegas. It's kind of the way we do. He's like, oh, okay. No. You're probably not understanding this. It's the polite thing to do. It's just kind of what we do here in Vegas. Oh, I see. I gotcha. No, I'm not interested in that. Okay, so they continue to play. And they're playing. And they get down to 3 people. Neil is first and 2 other guys. He was saying this one other player, an Asian guy, he said was actually a very good player. Neil actually said he thought the player was better than him. So these 3 guys were playing. And yes, here comes the next, actually the live chat is kind of reading where I'm going to go with this. And the next thing was the second player, the second place guy, the Asian guy was like, okay, let's chop the pot. I'm like, well, what the hell does that mean? He goes, okay. It's very similar to the pay to bubbly thing where they say, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to take the full amount and we're going to split it 3 ways where, of course, the first place guy gets the most money. So Neil's like, okay, what are you offering me? And the second place guy goes, we'll give you 800. And Neil's like, nope, not interested. They're like, wait a minute, this is kind of, I said, Neil's like, yeah, I hear what you're saying. This is how you play. But the card games that I play, we don't do that shit. We play to win. So they're all kind of, what the fuck? So the dealer starts to deal again, and the number 2 guy's like, wait. We're not done yet. We're not done. What do you mean? Oh, we're still talking. Okay, fine. Neil says, I'll tell you what. I'll do it for $900. Asian guy's like, yeah. How about $850? Let's do $850. And Neil's like, nope, you can deal. Wait. Okay, we'll do it for $900. So he took $900. Now the question, of course, is what would he have won if he just played all the way through? He would have won $1,024. So he basically sacrificed $100 for a sure thing as opposed to who knows what might happen. So I thought that was fascinating. I never knew that poker players would do that kind of thing. But apparently Ted in the live chat, a couple guys in the live chat were like, oh yeah, they do that all the time. To me, it seems kind of weird. Now, at the same time, we decided to stay at the Wynn. You know what? I got to tell you, we spent some time at a variety of properties this weekend, stayed at the Wynn, and the Wynn is a little pricey. There's no question. Now, the Mitchells got an amazing deal. I think they were paying $125, I think it was, a night at the Wynn. And they got upgraded, too. This really is a great property. So, first of all, we used the $20 technique. Actually, Melissa used the $20 technique. Remember, it's not a $20 trick. I see people writing this all the time. Do the $20 trick. It's not a trick. You're not tricking anybody. And if you think you're tricking anybody, you're being a prick, and you don't deserve shit. What you're doing is you're showing somebody your appreciation for them working for you, which is why if you try the $20 technique and they're not able to upgrade you, but they put the work in, they're going to try to give you the money back. You tell them to keep that money. They did the work, right? So I actually mentioned that to Melissa because it also puts you in a different mind space. If you think you're tricking somebody, some people get a little edgy when you do that, including yourself. If you think that you're just doing it, you're doing the nice thing, you're helping this guy out, and they're helping you out. I mean, you're not getting something for free, and they're not getting anything for free. It actually puts you in a good headspace. So she did that. We were upgraded to a corner room. These are really nice rooms. Now, it was lower than I would like. We were only on the 5th floor, which is, I think, the bottom floor. So it was a gorgeous room, floor-to-ceiling windows on 2 sides. So we could see everything, including the cleanest roof in Las Vegas. And I could look down and see people walking around outside of, actually, El Segundo Sol. So it was a good view. But I would have liked taller. Actually, Neil saw it. He said this is a better room than they got. But I'll tell you what's happening at Wynn that's pretty fascinating. Their attention to detail, I don't know that it's matched by anybody else. The rooms, just perfect. Everything in its place. The hallway. Look at the hallways of these different places. It doesn't sound like a big deal, and it's probably not, but I was in a pretty fancy hotel this weekend as well, and the hallway there, that room was 3 times the cost, was not great. The hallway at the Wynn, beautiful. Art, lit, dramatic. It's those kind of things. Even the goo, the hair goo, the shampoo, the conditioner, the cream. How many people have been in a shower and you've got your conditioner and your shampoo and you can't tell which one's which? Why? Because you can't read it because you haven't got your glasses on. Anybody? It happens to me all the time. For the Wynn goo, they've got the word shampoo. It's about this tall, about that wide. You can't not read it. Doesn't matter how blind you are. It doesn't seem like much, but first of all, it's molten brown, which is a super fancy goo. But second, you can read the damn thing. It's so impressive. So I will tell you, shop around for Wynn properties. you will not feel cheated there. It's just a great place. Okay, so once we got everybody together, we decided, okay, let's go out and do a little bit more drinking and carousing. So we headed over to Treasure Island, right across the street from the Wynn, and decided to go to Yeehaw Gillies. So we go over Gillies and we walk in there and we hear the country music going. And we've been in the Gillies before. It's a good time. And they stopped us and said, oh, well, there's a $10 cover charge. Well, for what? For country music? We got live music. I'm like, wait a minute. But it's country, right? Yeah. Well, shouldn't you be paying us? It's country. That's not great music. You should pay us to go in and listen to that crap live. Now, they weren't buying that, so we decided to leave. So we walk around and we go snooping and snooping, and we ended up going here.
Problem. I don't know why. I'm Scott. I'm Neil.
Melissa.
Wig.
That's right. We ended up at Señor Frog's. I have said many, many bad things about Señor Frog's. Primarily, I don't like what happened to the facade of Treasure Island. Treasure Island was one of my favorite facades of all the hotels. I mean, it was the real theme. Pirates are. I love pirates. They completely fucked up the front of that thing. They put this giant Señor Frogs in there. They screwed up the boat thing. I don't think that's ever going to go again. Breaks my heart. So we went there because it was close. However, I am wrong. I can admit when I'm wrong. And I'm wrong. That place is a load of fun. We had as you could see, a pretty great time there. There's Neil and I contemplating what a great time we were having, and there are the girls enjoying each other's company. Here's the thing about this: it's loud. I mean, you could hear the music back there. It's the PA bullshit music. That's not great, but the vibe there, really good. Good drinks, strong drinks, good sized drinks, and the thing that made it terrific for us was the band that they had there. It's a local band called the Whippets. And it was kind of weird because when we walked in there, the lead male singer, he was wearing like short shorts with suspenders, so he kind of looked German. And he had affected this German accent. And he kept saying that they were from Berlin. So in the beginning, we're like, these guys are from Berlin? How cool is that? Because the blonde singer girl kind of looked like a Deborah Harry kind of vibe, short chopped blonde hair. They kind of looked German. So we're like, wow, that's pretty cool. And then they said, yeah, we're the Whippets. I'm like, the Whippets? Wait a minute. That's a Las Vegas band. So we're like, look at that. They play at Blue Martini. They play here at Señor Frogs. They play downtown at Fremont Street. They're all over the place. If you get a chance to see the Whippets, go see these guys because they're a hoot, man. It was so much fun. So the good news of Friday night was we drank a lot, and we walked. We took it easy. Berlin, actually, that's right. The girl looked like the lead singer from Berlin, whose name I forget right now. But we woke up Saturday morning, and nobody was hungover. Hallelujah, right? All right, Saturday, what did we want to do? So we wanted to do something a little off the beaten path, but that had a thing that if you're a Las Vegas local, you know about it. So Springs Preserves is this really interesting place. Think of it as like a museum plus a botanical garden, plus they have traveling exhibits that go by. It's one of the great jewels of Las Vegas. Melissa just became a member, as a matter of fact. And they had a thing called the Las Vegas Brews and Blues. This is their 7th annual one, as a matter of fact. It was this last Saturday from 4 to 6, so we thought, well, that'd be kind of fun. Let's go listen to some blues and drink some beer right after drinking the night before. We thought that might be just a brilliant idea. So we headed over there. It started at 4. we got there a little bit before, and the place was packed. So first tip, if you ever go to this thing again, get there early, apparently, because 4 to 8 is a suggestion. It sure as hell ain't what they're really doing. So we had a lovely time there. We hung around. We played giant Jenga. Drew a little crowd for that. Drank beer in these little mason jars. And there we are sitting on the grassed amphitheater, listening to some music. And one of the bands we heard, actually we heard two bands, and it was really interesting. One of them was called the Lucky Cheats. This is a band I've been wanting to listen to for a long time. They were playing with a group called the All-Togethers, which I'm a huge fan of. They are, think of jazz hillbilly. That's the All-Togethers. And the Lucky Cheats, of course, are a blues band. So I wanted to see them because they were playing the Lucky Cheats and the All-Togethers were playing several weeks ago. I wanted to see them, didn't get a chance. So I was pretty excited to see these guys. And they crushed it. Holy crap. You might think to yourself, you can only do so much with blues. These guys were awesome. Same thing, if you can find these guys, go see them. What was really weird was they were not the headliner. The headliners were some band out of L.A. called the 44s. And while the Lucky Cheats were magical, the 44s were horrible. It was so weird. It was like these guys said, yeah, we'll do the whole Grateful Dead jammity jam thing. Occasionally we'll sing a little something, but it was all the same. It was literally all 1-4-5 blues. Nothing interesting. And they couldn't even start right a couple times. One time Neil looked at me like, did they screw that up? It was a horrible start. So I don't really understand how those guys got that gig, but the Lucky Cheats were magical. Go see those guys. And go to the Springs Preserve. I think you'll really dig it if you've got the time to go down there. All right. Then, after that, we took off to do one of my favorite things. And this was kind of cute because before the Mitchells got here, Neil reached out and said, man, we would really like to go and see a 51s game, which surprised me. I mean, it's baseball. I didn't think the UK folks would get into that kind of thing. But they really wanted to see it. So I said, yeah, we can do that. So the 51s are, just so you understand how this works, so they are the AAA team for the New York Mets. And the way that works is as you're going up into professional baseball, right? You've got A, AA, AAA, and then the pros. So you start off in A and you get to AA. From AA you get to AAA. AAA is just below the pros. So again, the 51s are the AAA team for the Mets. They used to be the AAA team for the Dodgers, by the way, and then over in Montreal, and now they're at the Mets. Here's the deal about the 51s. You know, I consider this one of the great discoveries of Las Vegas when we first moved here. I had never been to a AAA game before. I've been to a lot of pro games, and it was really interesting because when I first walked into that place, it's called Cashman Field, I just thought it was magical. I thought it was gorgeous. There's a lot of people who bitch about that as not being very good. As a matter of fact, there are people trying to build a new stadium for the 51s over in Summerlin, downtown Summerlin, I believe it is. And Neil is like, this place is gorgeous. I'm like, I know it is. Why don't people like this? I'm like, I guess the players don't like the dressing room, but I think this is magical, man. And it really, really is. The atmosphere is fantastic. The value, well, this is our seat. Boom. We're about 7 rows back from the field. And I think those tickets cost us $14 a piece. And you cannot beat that with a stick. But here's the other great thing about watching AAA baseball. You know, Melissa doesn't like baseball because it's boring. AAA baseball is not boring. The score for the game that we were at was 17-14. 31 points were scored in that game. It was like a football game. I've never been to a game with that many points score. So the game that we saw, 17-14. The next day it was 11-5. The next day it was 9-3. These guys are hitting all over the place. So that's the great thing. These guys are still making mistakes. They're hitting everything. So it's so much more exciting than, quite frankly, a regular pro baseball game. So the atmosphere is great, the value is great, the action is great, but the truth of the matter is, if you don't like baseball, just people watch. The people there are fantastic. And if you really want to see how humans behave in a high-stress environment, go on Thursday night beer nights, $1 beer nights. That's not good. I wouldn't go. The time to go is on a Friday night, Saturday night. Their games start at 7 o'clock. It's magical. Go there. Okay. So we wrapped up with that, came home. Sunday, we had to take him to the airport. Now, anybody who's paying attention to the news knows that TSA is in a lot of trouble right now. And, you see reports in Chicago with 3-hour plus 4-hour lines to get to your flight. You've seen that in a couple places, actually. And holy crap, we were worried about that. So I think they had a 4 o'clock flight. 4:20 flight. They wanted to be there 3 hours before. This is an international flight, so naturally you got to go through customs and all that nonsense. They wanted to make sure that they had enough time, and it was a good thing we did because we dropped them off at, like I said, about I think it was 1 o'clock or so for a 4 o'clock flight. We were driving home. I think before we got home, easily within an hour, we got a text from them saying, "Yep, checked all in, no problem." Less than an hour they got through. So it sounds like McCarran is not suffering from the same kind of issues many of the other TSA managed, well, it's all of them right now, many of the other airports. But you're still going to want to, of course, check about that. Don't take my word for it. But I've had several people anecdotally tell me it's not been a problem, and Neil and Sarah said the exact same thing. So that's it. That's what we did over the course of the couple weekends. A lot of cool things to do, a little bit of strip, a little bit of off strip. Had a great time. And to the Mitchells, thanks for coming out, you guys. You guys were fantastic. All right, we're going to take a little break, and we'll be right back. This Living in Las Vegas podcast on the Vegas Video Network. This episode of Living in Las Vegas is brought to you by the Vegas Video Co-op. Because your online presence is often your only chance to begin a meaningful sales conversation, please take a moment and visit vegasvideocoop.com. Highlight your business, start a talk show, or unleash your genius for a low monthly fee. Use promo code LILV for a special discount to our viewers and listeners. That's vegasvideocoop.com. I'm doing that, Pops. I'm doing it. It's time for listener email. All you have to do to be a part of that, by the way, is send an email to onairq at livinginlv.com. Again, onairq at livinginlv.com. Something a little different today for our listener email. I'm going to focus on one person who has sent me a number of emails that all talk about something that I consider to be an increasing problem here in Vegas, and that is just the quality of the work being done here. One of the things that's awesome about living here is you get to be you get to be proud that you are associated, whether you work there or not, with the best hotels in the world. Without question, these are the best. And there is this certain je ne sais quoi by saying, oh, yeah, I've hung out at the Wynn, I've been over to, whatever. But I'm constantly seeing a degradation of service and support and capabilities, and it's pretty uncool. So I'm going to read a couple of things that I got from Stuart. Background on Stuart. Stuart is one of the nicest guys you ever meet. He's also a high roller. So he's not one of the kind of guys who will, beat his chest and complain. That's just not his style, as you'll see in a moment. But he's a big kind of guy. I mean, he's the kind of guy who he's been comped Skyloft rooms at MGM Grand. If anybody knows what those are the two-story, full window, gorgeous rooms, and he's been comped those. So I don't know what level he plays at, but he's not somebody that I would want to lose. And I know, and I'll talk about this next week, I know that there are other casinos trying to steal him away as we speak. But again, I'll read that. I'll read about that next week. So here's what he wrote. So he just got comped. He wrote, so the good news is I got a comp offer for 5 nights at Caesars in a Forum suite. The bad news, the window in the living room looks out into a concrete wall just a few feet from the window, and there is no bedroom window, just a large mirror behind the sheer curtains to make it look like a window. So let's take a look at what he got. This is a high roller now, folks. And here's his view, right? So there's that window, and you can see there's concrete right out there. You can see there's some light. There's some light at the right side. Well, let's take a better look at that. Yep. That's his view. Oh, my God.
Tomahawk said no.
Yeah, exactly. Now, and then in the bedroom, the mirror, that's the bedroom. And you can see they've got the curtain over the mirror, so it kind of looks like a window. Holy shit. Are you fucking kidding me? My head would explode. I said, now the good news, he writes, I can get an afternoon nap in total darkness. The bad news, the lamps in this room are what might be called ambient lighting, so everything is kind of semi-dark. I'm glad I don't suffer from SAD, as this room would not help. Okay, my quandary. I can't believe they would sell this suite to anybody and get away with it, so I assume it is a perpetual comp suite. But wouldn't you want to give your best customers something better than this to entice them to return and spend money in your property? Also, on check-in, wouldn't you want to warn the guests that this type of view rather than what you might be expecting, right? So that's what he wrote. I'm like, yeah, hell, that's horrible stuff. Okay, so I said to him, well, did you say anything? He did. He wrote, and to his, whatever you call those people, this person's name. Thank you for the fruit basket in my room. Already. Is he not the politest person you've ever made? Thank you for the fruit basket in my room. If you let me know when you are around over the next 2 days, I can see if I can meet to say thanks. We have a packed schedule, though. I have one comment on the room that I want to pass on to you. Forum Tower 5719. I very much appreciate that the suite is comped, but it is one that I am surprised the hotel allocates to Diamond. Okay, there he is. Diamond members, or at least I would assume it is one of the very last to be filled. The bedroom has no windows. Just a mirror behind the drapes acts like a fake window, and the living room has a concrete wall about 3 feet from the window. It does seem odd that this type of room, which must be its worst, is what hotels put their premium guests in. Again, I feel a little bad pointing this out given the room is comp, but it is surprising. Right? So, what did they write back? Good question. They offered to upgrade him. They offered to move his room or upgrade him if he paid for that. He checked out instead. So when I asked him that today, and he told me that, he goes, yeah, but you know what? It was the Mandalay Bay. So that was Caesars. He goes, Mandalay Bay was a shit show as well. Get this. Mandalay Bay checkout was a bit of a disaster. They added a $225 late checkout. Remember, he's a big-time spender there. A $225 late checkout fee to the bill. Remember I said there was a sliding scale. For a standard room, it'd be like $30 at 1 p.m., $40 for 3 p.m. So they're charging for different late checkouts. And on checkout, I asked if my host could review the charges and then if they could use my expense or my express comps for the remainder. When they sent my bill, the host had deducted the late checkout charge, but they had forgotten to use my expense comps, so they overcharged me by $800. I had to email back, and then 2 days later, I got a revised bill and a credit to my card. Am I the only one who is sensing that they're just starting to, it's so different than from the wind? It just feels like these guys are not paying attention like they used to. You know, we have two friends that are high rollers, and years ago when they would come by, no one missed a thing. I mean, they themselves were like, God, they did this and they did that, and it was great, and they were focused, and the people were on top of us, and it was really, really good. And now I'm seeing both Caesars and MGM resorts starting to not pay attention. You know, this whole parking thing is still kind of uneasy for a lot of people. It's just really, really unpleasant to watch. And then I actually thought about doing a show called The Nickel and Diming of Las Vegas. I'm not sure I want to do a whole show on that, but here's another email I got from Stuart. And this is the kind of shit that just pisses me off. And we've heard this same thing from other people as well. This is for, this suite has one of those small drip coffee makers that you get in even the most basic of hotels. The Keurig, you know, the K-cup things. But in a Caesars suite, you have to pay an extra $13 for the coffee. So there's a picture of it. There's the Keurig. It's a little itty-bitty mini one, just a single cup. Well, they're all single cups, but it looks like you only put enough water for a single cup. But if you look at the menu right next to it, the Keurig tea set, $13. Keurig decaf coffee set, they're charging you $13 for that. What the fuck, man? What School of Hospitality Management have these people attended? So I think what they're doing is it's called playing tight. Yeah, Vidara, that was it. Glenn had mentioned that Vidara is doing the same kind of thing. So, and as a matter of fact, Glenn, Glenn's not a big spender. He's but he's a visitor. He's a repeat visitor. He comes here as often as he possibly can. He's not like most people in Las Vegas or who visit Las Vegas. People who like Las Vegas like Las Vegas for 2 weeks. The week before they're here, and then the week they're here. And then they don't think about it again until the next time they're coming. That's typical. People like Glenn in the live chat, I don't know how many times he wants to come here this year. Several would be my guess. And he had the same thing happen to him. Yeah, I think they charge for the coffee cup or the coffee pot for them, $20 a day. Ice, $15. Oh, I don't know what you're talking about. 3 to 4 times a week he comes. So what they're doing is what I call playing tight. So this happens a lot to salespeople who are in trouble. When you're in trouble, you tense up and you're stressed and you can sense it, you can feel it in these people. You can smell it on them, and it feels like these casinos are beginning to play tight. And I don't get it. I mean, I just don't understand what the fuck they think they're doing here, because all they're doing are pissing off people like the Glens, like the Stewarts, who want to come here all the time, but simply are they're going to go elsewhere. And I know that Caesars and MGM hold about, I think it's about 80% of all the properties on the Strip, but that doesn't mean they have them all. And there are other people out there who is probably changing, are going to go after those people. And Glenn in the live chat said Vegas is losing its cool, just like the previous episode, which I did. I really think Vegas is losing its cool. Both they're losing what's cool about it, but they're also losing their calm and cool and collectedness. They just don't have that vibe anymore. They're pinging everybody for everything. And we've got some advantages still from the show perspective, weather perspective, other food perspective. But you keep pissing people off like that, and Newport Beach doesn't look so bad. San Francisco doesn't look so bad. Miami doesn't look. Orlando doesn't look so bad. And for many people, they don't look bad already. But God damn it, we've got to get back to where our head was. Or I think we're just going to start losing folks. Okay, real quick stories. First of all, again, thanks to Erin and Alan for doing the intro. If you want to do an intro, and we would love for you to do an intro to the show, super easy to do it. You take your phone. Now, some people have a flip phone, so you go, I guess. You take your phone, and you're going to record yourself in landscape, not portrait, landscape, and you're going to say something like, "Hey, I'm Dave Smith from Effingham, Illinois, and you're watching the Living in Las Vegas podcast on the Vegas Video Network." And then you can say something pithy. If you're in town, I would happy to do a walk-on, as I did for Erin and Alan. All right. Speaking of Erin and Alan, I have to thank them. So they did something that was super sweet. They invited us to dinner last night, invited Melissa and myself. They hadn't met Melissa before, but they knew of her, of course. And so they were staying at the Cosmo. So it gave me an opportunity to see a Cosmopolitan room for the first time. They had a beautiful suite on the 21st floor. And I got to tell you, this was their view. Not terrible, right? I mean, that's the Bellagio fountain. I don't think you can get a much better view than that. Full suite, full kitchen, a lounge area, bathroom, or 2 bathrooms, bedroom. It was pretty sweet. Nice long balcony. It was really pretty cool. A couple funny things. Well, the funniest thing was the kitchen didn't have any utensils and no pots, pans, or plates. So they had a kitchen, but they couldn't really use the kitchen to do kitchen-y things. That was a little bit of a miss. They did something that I thought was really cool. And there's a restaurant there called China Poblano, which is kind of a mix of Chinese and Mexican, right? So a fascinating mix, and I like both Chinese and Mexican. So what they did is they pre-ordered dinner takeout at the restaurant at Cosmo. So we all met at Chandelier Bar, which apparently is being redone come Wednesday, is what I've been told. They're going to redo the whole thing. So we met for drinks at the Chandelier Bar, had a drink, and then we took off, walked by the China Poblano. He picked up our dinner. We went up to the suite and had dinner in the suite. Super clever, really cool idea. I will be doing that more now. But I also have to thank them for the gifts. They brought, you may be noticing that I've been drinking Prescott Brewing Company Liquid Amber Ale. There it is. They brought that for moi. And they also brought beer koozies. Kind of nice, right? So super, super nice. And they were doing the Haddam pub crawl. So so Alan has a spreadsheet of all the Haddams that we've done, 67, so I've been told. And he's just checking them all off, rating them, checking them all off. He had actually, do I have that piece of paper? Oh, I think I may have, I think I lost it. He had a piece of paper with all the Haddams for the day, and they're all checking them out. It's really pretty cute. Super nice couple. I have no idea what they see in us, but God bless them for doing so. All right, time for some chat questions, part of the show where the live chat becomes a part of the show. Let's see what we got there. Steve I, what's your thoughts on Laughlin? This is an interesting question in that the live chat, when this question popped up before the show, they really wanted to get my response to this. And my answer is, I don't have the first clue about Laughlin. I've been here for 10 years. I've never gone down there, which is probably because there's nothing down there that really speaks to me. So it reminds me of what Reno is kind of like. So I have been to Reno, and I was unbelievably underwhelmed by Reno. So I figure Reno is the smallest big city, or the biggest small city in the world. So it's got to be pretty good, I guess, if you think. And I didn't think much of it. I didn't think much of the casinos. I didn't think much of the restaurants. I didn't think much of the vibes. There wasn't a thing that really turned me on about Reno. I don't know a lot about Laughlin, but it can't be as big or as impressive as Reno, I'm assuming. So I've never been, motivated to go down there. Now, I think Laughlin has a body of water around it. Is that right? A river, yeah. So I've heard there's a river that goes through there, and I believe that could be neat. So if there are like casinos on the river, if you can rent a boat and go up and down the river and and hang out, maybe do some water skiing, that would be of interest to me. Oh, well, it's the Colorado River. I've heard of it. Or the Black Hawk Colorado, whatever it is. Jet skiing, there you go. So, and Danny in the live chat's telling me that none of the casinos are on the river. So if I could get on the river and have some fun, I would probably be more inclined to go down there. But the truth is, I don't really see a big need for it, quite frankly. Although the Laughlin Chamber of Commerce is called, and they've asked me to be their marketing director. All right, Jimmy wants to know, how much money do you think it would cost to plea out those felony charges to misdemeanor and probation for Chumlee? The background, of course, is Chumlee was raided for, I think it was abuse, sexual abuse. They didn't charge him on that, but they found all kinds of drugs, weapons, neither of which he was supposed to have. So I'm not a lawyer. I don't really know what the deal is. So Glenn's wondering if he already got off. Did he already get off? Do you know, Ted, if he got off? I didn't think that had happened yet. So they think he plea bargained. Well, Mike, yeah, there's little chance he was going to go to trial. Okay, he pleaded. Do you know what he got? Probation? All right. So, yeah. Most people don't. I guess a lot of people don't know this. Okay, 3 years probation. Yeah. Most people don't want to go to trial. And most court cases don't go to trial. Most people plea out, both criminally and for civil. Usually, the vast majority of cases are settled before they go to court. And the reason is because lawyers can't control what the hell's going on in court. So I'm not surprised he pled. And I'm not surprised he got 3 years of probation. I'd be interested to know how much community service he has to do. I'm guessing it is a buttload. But this is an example of a guy. I don't know this guy. Bryce's mom lives in the same street as he does, so he's somewhat aware of him. But this is an example of a guy who clearly isn't the smartest tool in the shed. Sharp as a bowling ball, and he had found himself with some money, and that's bad. It's, some people just shouldn't have uncontrollable money. Everybody should have money. Don't get me wrong. I think it's good. But holy crap, if you can't figure it out, get it out of your hands. And this guy, I think he had a crack problem. I'm not exactly sure. Allegedly had a drug problem. So what are you going to do? All right, Danny wants to know, you have $50 and a hankering for a nice dinner out. Where do you and Melissa go? Danny, you clearly haven't met Melissa. Because $50 ain't going to cut it. Okay. That being said, it depends on what you're going to do. So part of, when we go out, we would normally get a bottle of wine at a nice place. Well, you're $50 in minimum for a bottle of wine. As a matter of fact, Barrymore's, which is at Royal Resort, they call it, over on Convention Center Drive, which, by the way, is getting the crap torn out of it. Barrymore's is a super nice restaurant, and they make a big deal about 50 bottles for under $50. $50, which is a good deal, by the way, for wine in a hotel or in a restaurant. So, $50, you're not going to really do a whole lot of wine drinking there, would be my guess. But I do have an answer for that. And the place, so you got to go where there's a discount. So where do they have good food and they provide a discount? And our go-to place is Capo's. For Monday night, for locals, you have to eat at the bar. They say it's for entertainers, but actually it's for anybody. So if you go in there, you sit at the bar, not at a table. You tell them, you show them your ID, your Las Vegas ID, and the whole entire menu, all food, all appetizers, all drink, everything is half off. So you can get away with doing $50 there. Now, if you're, it's just two of you. Yeah, you could, I think we got out of there once for maybe $60. Actually, I think it was less than that when we ate at the bar. And it's good food. Now, so Danny decided to bring up that they got popped for dirty dining. They probably did. Or they did. So what? So they cleaned up. They got their shit together. My guess is probably one of the cleanest places in the world now because of that. I'm not too worried about it, to be quite frank. As a matter of fact, I'm watching them cook my food, so I feel pretty good about that as well. If that freaks you out, don't go. But I will say this about that. There's this shrilling bitch who is on Channel 13, the ABC affiliate here, Darcy something or other. She's got the weirdest, freakiest hairdo. It's like the straight thing, but it looks like she's got a helmet inside her head. she does this really bush league bullshit thing where she shows up on somebody's door. Yeah, yeah. Hi, I'm Darcy Small, whatever her name is, with Channel 3, and we understand you got Pop and Dirty, and you're on Dirty Dining. I'd be like, get the fuck off my property. You don't need to be here. I know what the problem is. We'll take care of it. And these people talk to her. What the fuck? Ugh, fuck. Pisses me off. All right. So Capos is where to go. That pissed. Now, see, I'm so pissed about that. I'm gonna have to have a drink. Have a drink on me. Have a drink on me. All right. All right, it's time for Have a Drink on Me. It's part of the show where I show you a picture of a bar or a lounge or a pub or a speakeasy, and if you can guess the name of it, you can win some fabulous prizes. Now, Pops, what can they win?
This week's Lucky Haddam winner can choose any one of 3 amazing Scott Whitney guitar CDs, Christmas Acoustic 1, Christmas Acoustic 2, or Jazzathon. Proudly displayed here by Bob, undisputed king of the video Haddam entry. Or you can choose the comfortable and stylish Vegas Video Network visor like these lucky winners, available in the standard black and sometimes in the rare, hard-to-find red, popular with the ladies and the Russians. Or you can choose the premium prize package. The next time you're going to be in Vegas, you can arrange an evening of sophistication and class.
I forgot this
with
part.
the man himself, the guru of all things Vegas, Scott Whitney.
And apparently
Well,
ex-cocaine dealer.
Okay, at least drinks, laughs, and some priceless conversation. The only thing you can't win this week is...
Jesus! Thank you, Pops. Big hand for Pops there. Oh, boy, brother. How do you get involved with that? Well, you send us an email, and you send that email to Have a Drink, there it is, at VegasVideoNetwork.com. Again, Have a Drink at VegasVideoNetwork.com. Couple rules. So you submit your question in. We put it in a hat. Now, can you do more to increase your opportunity? Well, yes, you absolutely can. If you are the very first person to answer correctly, I will double your entries. If you include a photo of the Jazzathon or any of our other CDs in the wild, including a picture of yourself, I'll give you another input. Like, for example, look at that. There is the Jazzathon CD playing music to a embryo. Okay, it's not an embryo, it's a fetus. Well, it's probably not a fetus, probably a baby. Anyways, that baby is incredibly smart because of that music. Hey, look, we're in Russia, and we haven't been arrested. Now, other ways of increasing stuff? Yeah, if you're in the live chat. Holy crap, if you're in the live chat and you have a correct answer, guess what? I am going to double your entries as well. That's pretty magical. Now, here's the real magic of all this. What happens when you do win? Well, life gets good for you, of course. Especially if it's the music. But what happens if you get one of these guys, one of these magical visors? Well, your whole life changes, my friends. It changes because you become a part of the gallery of God. There's Michael and Scott and the Binky and Buzz show. There's Alan and Erin, who are very cool and new this. They really are. I learned last night. There's Bob and his wife and Wade. There's Danny and Shan, not Jan. There's Craig, Vegas Talk, and Glenn's got a new picture. Jimmy Two G's, who needs a better internet connection. There's Rob and Ken and Scott. There's Jen, our friend. There's Stuart, and there is Bob again. Holy shit, he's everywhere. There's Christina and Don and Jackie and Michael. There's another Michael. Look out! And Pops. And wait, there's a whole bunch more interesting. There's Sammy and a dog and Brett's dad. There's your buddy Scott and of course Wayne. And let's not forget our buddy Brett. All right. Hoo-wee! Okay. 20 out of 23 correct answers this week. And there is a reminder of the correct answer. And the clues were Carmine's at the Forum Shop, Carmine's at the Forum Shops, and Carmine's at the Forum Shops. Congratulations to everybody. It's 23 out of 23 is what I should have said, by the way. Everybody got it right. Nobody got it wrong. Okay. Let's get to it. Okay, first up. Andy in New Hampshire. First correct answer. So he gets one for the correct answer, one for being the first correct answer. So he gets one for a correct answer and one more for being the first correct answer. Boink. Boink. Next up, we've got Mike Q. One for the correct answer, one for being in the live chat. There he goes. He just doubled his pleasure because he's in the live chat. Mike's one of the first people in there, by the way, if you want to meet a nice fella. Mike's your man. All right. Jimmy 2G's. Jimmy. I think he's having some internet problems. There he is. He made it. So Jimmy, one for Jimmy. Correct answer. One for being in the live chat. Way to go, Jimmy. Boink. Next up, Bob Stepp. And Erin Perry. Kevin Whip. From Canada, by the way. Chet Shotness. I think Chet is not able to make it today in the live chat. There you go. Steve I. We know Stevie's in there. Boop. One for the correct answer, one for being in the live chat. Boop. Attaboy, Steve. And Mike Lazowski, who is Mad Chipmunk, which means he's in the live chat. One for the correct answer, one for live chat. Quite a few doubles right there. Let's continue. Gary Romberg, Mr. Testy. Interesting show on the shows. He enjoyed Cocktails and Burn Unit. So did I. Laura Meakin from the UK. Congrats on the 1000th show. Glad to hear Brett is doing okay. Barb Shotness. Barb is in the live chat. Barb writes, congrats on the 1000 show. One for the correct answer. Barb in Wisconsin gets another one for being in the live chat. John Herman, who's in New York City. We've got Andrew Z from Winnipeg, Canada. Michael Snow. Is Michael in there? Michael was gifted a big win. Michael Snow, there we go. And Michael B. Looks like the next 1,000. Oh, here's to the next 1,000 shows. Michael B. Let's see. Michael Snow. Michael. Chicago Snowman. Yeah, there he is. Okay. And we continue. Glenn Santa. Glenn. One for the correct answer. One for live chat. And Glenn writes, I knew this one right away. It's Carmine's in the Forum Shops at Caesars. We ate there on our last trip as well. We sat at the bar and had dinner and drinks. The food and service was excellent. They serve family style, so the portions are huge. All right, next, Gene Rasmussen. Gene writes, hey, Scott and Brett. This week's Haddam is Carmine's at Caesar's Palace. Wanted to send you a quick note of congratulations on your 1000th episode on the network. I really love living in Las Vegas, but miss pub crawl and cocktails. Any chance those shows might return to the network in the future? Nope. Glad to hear Brett is responding well to the treatment, and with the upcoming Memorial Day weekend, want to say thank you for you, to Scott, for your service. Keep up the great work, and hoping to see these other shows return to the network. Gene in St. Paul, Minnesota. Hey, I'd love to have him back. When those shows were on, I was covering the cost of those, And we've discovered, and this is not a criticism to anybody, that if people are investing in their own show, it just, there's a better vibe to it. Actually, that's not fair. It's a more focused, serious vibe to it, which is important to me, quite frankly. I would love to have them both back. Well, the truth of the matter, for pub crawlers, they're just too busy. For Talk Tales, the thing about what we're doing here is, we don't have millions and millions of people watching, so I just can't get regular advertisers. It's a pretty niche. Those are both pretty niche shows. But I will say something about Talk Tales, and that is, we have a show on the network right now called House Seats Presents, and the premise is exactly the same thing, other than instead of an entertainer interviewing entertainers, like Chris or Kelly interviewing other entertainers, we've got a guy who runs House Seats, Bryce Krausman, and who has been involved in the entertainment business for a very long time, interviewing folks just like we interviewed on Talk Tales. So if you like Talk Tales, check out House Seats Presents, because it's the same kind of a kooky vibe. They're drinking, they're having fun, they're swearing. And Bryce is a very charming guy. He's a fun cat and super nice. But he also is kind of a thinking guy. He asks some pretty interesting questions. So check out House Seats Presents. It's on the Vegas Video Network, and they're live every Monday night at 3 o'clock p.m. Okay, Craig Daughtry, one for the correct answer. And Craig writes, I'm actually meeting him for his Haddam drink that I already owe him this Wednesday. He writes, the Haddam for episode 266 is Carmine's. Erin and I stopped. Oops, wrong one. Stand by. Where's Craig? There it is. Craig writes, howdy, guys. One thing I know for sure during my current trip is I will never eat at this week's Haddam. So Glenn liked it, tried it, hated it. No Carmen's for us this trip. I know the show this week will be great. Doubt if I'm going to be in the live chat because we're doing Vegas, baby. Can't wait to catch it when we return home. Well wishes, BG Vegas Dog 222. Like I said, I'm meeting him Wednesday for drinks. Brett Barnes writes, one for him. Because of your show, I cannot wait to get back to Las Vegas. Thank you. This week's Haddam is Carmine's at the Forum Shops from Brent in Paradise, California. Best wishes to Brett. And now Alan Perry writes, twink. One for Alan there. Hey guys, this episode is Carmen's. Erin and I stopped by Saturday afternoon during our Vegas pub crawl to get a pic. Here is that pic. By the way, if you looked at the Haddam, and somebody caught this, by the way, you can see the Carmen sign just at the very bottom of it. And there they are. Other stops along the way, they went to Tom's Urban, California Pizza Kitchen, La Central at Paris, Tilted Kilt, Pub 1842, and Seersucker. This morning is Sunday Jazz Brunch at the Country Club, which I hear is very expensive. So we are working our way through the Haddam list. We're having a blast. Hope you had a great Memorial Day. We are in our favorite city, Las Vegas. Can't get much better than this. All right? Okay. And then finally, let's do the two who do what they do. Pops, what do you got, brother?
Scott, congratulations on 1,000 multi-camera live broadcasts. That's quite an accomplishment. Congratulations also to Chicago Snowman, who broke his 0-22 Haddam record last week when he was given a win from Steve Rhodes, who had just collected a previous Have a Drink with Scott. Scott will allow you, if you win, to gift your win. You can either select someone, as Steve did. He said, give it to the guy that's 0-22. Or just throw it back in the hat to be redrawn for somebody who hasn't won before. And then last week, Bob stepped up and put his entries on the line. He said the next person, other than him and me, that send in a video, gets his entries for that week. And I'm thinking, wow, we're trading these things like Bitcoins. So what could be better? Look out, here it comes. It's the Haddam chip. That's right. Every entry is worth a atom chip, worth its weight in alcohol. And what's a win? Well, if entry's a atom chip, then a win must be a Scott dollar.
Good God, Pops.
Yeah, there's one fucking Scott dollar for you. And you can tell these are the real, living in Las Vegas coin of the realm because they both have the These Nuts official logo. See ya.
Yeah, he doesn't call it drugs. He calls it medication, but there is no question he's on it. Pops gets one for the correct answer. Pop gets one for being in the live chat, and Pop gets one more for being a video stud. All right. Finally, our own Martin Scorsese. It's Big Bub.
Hey guys, this week's bar is Carmine's, located in the Forum Shops at Caesar's Palace. Carmine's has 750 seats and 9 private dining rooms. It's a family-style restaurant offering exceptional value to its guests through the many dishes of Southern Italian cuisine. Some of the menu items are the 42-ounce porterhouse steak, pasta with red sauce and calamari, seafood platter, spaghetti with meatballs, spicy scarparello wings, and the Titanic Sundae. What's better than good food, good wine, and these good fellas? You guys have a good one, and we'll see you next week.
Attaboy, Bubby. All right. One for the correct answer, one for live chat, and one for a video, tripling his opportunities to win. All right, let's see what we got here. La-da-dee. See? It's all fair. La-da-da. And the Vina is... Michael Snowman. Michael Snow. All right, Mike. I'm going to not let you win this because you already won thanks to Steven. I'm going to make an executive decision here. So we're going to pick another one. That had to happen. Everybody saw that coming, I bet. Okay, here we go. Steve I, the wise guy. Steve, long-time player. Attaboy, Steve. All right, Steve. I will send you an email to find out if you want a CD, a visor, or a drink on your buddy Scott. Okay, let's look at this week's Have a Drink Upon Me. Okay, here's our first clue. It's the sound you make when describing how you hung up the phone on somebody. The name of this place is the sound you make when you're describing how you hung up the phone on somebody. Hint number 2. Yeah, but this name is more like the description of a small group of people who won't let others join them. Yeah, the name of this place is actually more like a small group of people who won't let others join them. Hint number 3, the casino this place is in claims to be just the right amount of wrong. The casino claims to be just the right amount of wrong. If you know the answer, you're going to send it to haveadrink@vegasvideonetwork.com. Again, haveadrink@vegasvideonetwork.com. Okay, everybody. All right. If you want to get in touch with us, you can do so by sending us an email at onairq@livinginlv.com. Again, onairq@livinginlv.com. If you want to leave us a voicemail, you don't even have to pick up the phone. Just go to our website. Click that little red tab on the right side. It'll pop up a window. You'll click Start Recording. And because you have a microphone attached to your computer, you'll be able to leave us a voicemail. Hey, we're on iTunes. Leave us a 5-star review. We're also on YouTube. Give us a thumbs up and share us with with your friends. And besides iTunes and YouTube, you can find us on Roku with 32,000 people having installed us, guys. We're on Stitcher, we're on TuneIn, we're on Chromecast, we're on Apple, Google, and Fire TV, we're on Google Play, and of course, we're on the Vegas Video Network. I'm Scott. Thank you so much for playing along. We'll see you guys next week on the Living in Las Vegas podcast here on the Vegas Video Network. Take it.